Obviously I'd known about crypto. I started about hearing about these crazy NFTs, and then all of a sudden I came across the blockchain, and it blew my mind. Like the blockchain was connecting the metaverse I knew was a virtual world, which I didn't know anything about, but now it was connecting an actual tangible asset, houses, which is my, day-to-day operation. And that stopped everything. It was like, wait a second, the metaverse is digital. How the heck is it how's it blending over into the real world? And that's when immediately I realized something is going on here. The Metaverse, what is it? Why should you care? This is the first episode of the MetaMentors. Me, Ben, we're getting ready to start breaking what is the Metaverse down. The definition that I found on the Metaverse is a virtual reality world where you can mix and play and do all sorts of fun things with other people that are interested in the Metaverse. But that's kind of an all-encompassing deal. We want to jump in and actually start breaking down what that looks like, what that has meant to us over the last year, couple months, or even, years, depending on how far you go back. But we want to get into the meat and potatoes of this. So before we start doing that, a little bit of background on us so that you can know where we're coming from and why we're taking this journey together. So Ben, why don't you start with your story?
All right. Well, the basic versions, the stuff that applies to the metaverse and crypto. I am a retired firefighter. I used to work with Ryan. I'm now overseas, traveling the world with my spouse. She's in the military. So I as far as the metaverse goes, I feel like I'm more into it than a lot of people who are still at home, who get to spend every day, go to restaurants, do that kind of stuff with people that they live right next to. I feel like I've been living the last 3 years in some form of the metaverse because everything I do has to be digitally done, whether it's meetings, whether it's work, anything that I do, even if it's watching movies. Right now, I'll watch a movie and then you report back. I can't go anywhere or do anything with anybody. So I've really got a taste, especially in England during the lockdown, of what it's like to exist in a world that is not the real world, that is not the outside, and getting to go meet and hang out with people in the real world, which has been great because then when I started hearing about the metaverse and I started looking into it and I got the goggles, and when you go to the movies in the metaverse and you start to see the possibilities, and then you're reading about stuff that Disney is doing and that all of these entertainment companies and Amazon are doing, it makes so much more sense than it would have if I was back in the States and able to just walk down the street and do everything. So it's been a really good experience. This is the first time that I've gotten out of my bubble and been able to see this as it was growing, see the metaverse movement. It's obviously been around for a long time, and I wasn't around at the beginning of it, but just in the last few years, I've really noticed the importance of it, and I've been able to.
It's like you're at the front of it still, isn't it? Like that's what's crazy.
I'm able to picture it in my mind, not only what it's capable of, but like, hey, this is happening right now. You know what I mean? Which I wouldn't have been if I was still back in Kansas. So it's been great for me. I've invested in crypto and I've been around crypto projects and digital projects for years. But the wide open possibilities of the metaverse, I'm super excited about it. And when you started talking to me about, the real estate side of it and getting into NFT and crypto gaming, that just blew it open. That's why I was 100% on board to do this, because I am well aware of it, but I'm not well versed in it. I don't really know all the ins and outs of it. So I'm looking forward to using this as a reason to get to the next step. I am going to be doing all of this stuff. The type of channel that I'm looking for on YouTube doesn't exist. you either are so far behind, or they're just telling you, here, do this, here, do that, and they don't tell you enough about what's going on, or they start talking in a language that I don't understand. I mean, you can get on some of these Discords, and they are so far ahead of me that I can't even follow along. So I wanted to start at the beginning, figure out what the heck we're looking at, where to go from there, how to capitalize on it, how to make money, how to not miss the wave. And the thought of doing an informative documentary style, teaching style, but like open conversation style of YouTube channel, because I know there's going to be people on this channel that are just going to know so much more than me, and I'm looking forward to it. We've got to get some people on here that know what they're talking about, because that's where I'm going to learn. I got a book ready for it with notes, with stuff. I'm ready to get into it, and just logging the experience, just kind of keeping track of the way we're going. I want to start, figure it out, and move up. So I just think it's a great idea for a YouTube channel. And if I wasn't making it, it'd be the one that I'd want to watch. So.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, we're, as you and I have talked, I had some aha moments that brought me into this. But as I started to dive in right after that aha moment and putting in, I probably put in an average of 3 to 5 hours a day for the last, 8 to 10 weeks. And the vast amount of knowledge was so expansive. And almost immediately I thought, geez, there's got to be some YouTubes out there or something that breaks this down a little bit more, because I'm not a tech guy, but obviously I could see this huge movement that was going on. And to step back, kind of like I told you, as a realtor, I'm always watching business, and I've understood with the advancement of technology that I can be a damn good realtor and earn my keep, but technology is catching up. It's becoming easier and easier to make a sale, to find buyers or whatever. Now, there's a whole emotional side and everything else that goes with it, which is where we make our money. But that doesn't change that it's becoming easier. And so I've had my eye on that stuff. And then, 10 weeks ago when I came across, I'd heard, obviously I'd known about crypto. I started hearing about these crazy NFTs. And then all of a sudden I came across the blockchain, and it blew my mind. Like the blockchain was connecting the metaverse I knew was a virtual world, which I didn't know anything about, but now it was connecting an actual tangible asset, houses, which is my, day-to-day operation. And that stopped everything. It was like, wait a second, the metaverse is digital. How the heck is it, how's it blending over into the real world? And that's when immediately I realized something is going on here. And as you start digging, like you said, you start uncovering this vast world that's happening underneath our feet, and almost nobody knows about it. And the people that do know about it, those communities are all in, and they're ready to help you with everything. Like you ask a question and you got 15 answers, and like, hey, all you got to do is do this, do that. I mean, the community aspect of it is mind blowing. And I got to be honest, in today's rampant political crazy world we're in, having these community of people that are like, hey, awesome, glad to have you. What's your story? Let us help you. And, so immediately I started creating, just my own definitions, trying to keep up with the slang and the words and stuff. And it's been the last 8 to 10 weeks has been a whirlwind. But like you said, I realized real quick, after searching, there's not an index, there's not a cliff notes for what is going on in this metaverse. And so
a metaverse for dummies.
Metaverse for dummies, yes. But
dang it, there's a YouTube channel idea.
Missed opportunity. But I have the feeling that there's going to be a lot more videos, maybe even more channels. But to wrap it up, or to bring it all together, we're doing this not because Ben and I are already, waist deep in this every day trying to figure this out. So why not make a channel where we can pass this along our hours and kind of condense it down and say, hey, here are the things that we think you need to be looking at, or here's the screw ups we made. Hey, avoid this. Maybe you want to do this. And with that said, we're going to add some links down below for some of the basic stuff to get set up, things you need to be looking at to kind of get this ball rolling. But today is more just an introduction of what we're wanting to do. So that's a bit of Ben's story. That's a bit of my story.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I was going to make one point I forgot to say in our story. The great part is, even though Ryan and I worked together for, it was right at 10 years. I guess we came on together. Yeah. So 10 years on the fire department. We actually have very different backgrounds. He's been in real estate for most of that time, if not all of that time. So he's coming into the metaverse with a real estate, with a real world real estate background and a very good understanding of how all of that stuff works. I'm coming in with no real estate foreknowledge, but a very good knowledge of video games and video game worlds and that kind of stuff. So this is where both of those combine beautifully, because we are not very far. I mean, it's happening right now, but we are not far from mass adoption of being able to buy real estate in video games. And just the background, the knowledge, and I wouldn't call mine expertise. Ryan's an expert at real estate. I am a proficient video gamer. But just the background that both of us are coming in with, it's going to be a great combination, because like, you could focus on one of 50 different things about the metaverse or the blockchain. One's gaming, one's real estate. There's so many ways to capitalize and make money on either one. And we're kind of coming in and mixing it together with the NFT gaming, where you can buy the lands. So it's great. Our backgrounds, while similar, have expertise in different areas. And this is where it's all coming together right here. It's going to blur the line between what is a game and what is real life. You go around in a game collecting NFTs, but if you can use those in real life to go to concerts or to get into backstage stuff, you are gathering stuff like it's a game, but you're doing smart contracts in real estate for the real world, for the metaverse. There's so much that we have to go over.
That you hit the nail on the head. And it's like you said, in our prior talks, that you've missed the opportunities before, and you can see the actual combination of what is happening here. And it's funny because, you talk to people, and majority of people say, that metaverse deal is a fluke, or, that's a scam, or who the heck's going to spend hours doing. It's already happening. The younger generations are happening. It's, right. you need to look no further than Facebook's announcement and change of name in November, their commitment to spend $10 billion a year into the metaverse directly. And then just this week alone, Walmart committed to the metaverse. And then Microsoft, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Microsoft just invested $68 billion in buying out a company that has your major
Activision.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, your major games, your major world. So if you've got these major companies, by all means are, the most successful companies and some of the most successful in the world, and they're changing their whole game plan. Trust me, it's not just because they're interested in a virtual world of video games and metaverse. This is real world stuff that it's going to start affecting. And to me, that's definitely where, I think that's kind of what you're saying is my side comes from that business aspect side, that let's break it down, like what is going on? How is this going to impact my life and my family? Oh, and by the way, I'm at the front end of this deal. How do we make some smart investments at different price points that work for everybody, and record this journey along the way so that everybody can benefit?
Right. This is walking in and getting offered Amazon stock in 1998, or, Walt Disney stock in the early 1900s, or buying real estate in New York in the early 1800s. This is where it's going, but it's not going to take 100 years to get there. We're talking within the decade, you're going to see full-blown experiences. Disney is another company that just in the last month announced that they were going to be one of their main goals was bringing the park experience to the home of the viewer. So being able to go into the metaverse, being able to do the Star Wars, speaking of all the worlds, they own Star Wars, they own Marvel, they own all the classic Disney movies. There are so many world and metaverse and experience possibilities through that one company that when they say that they're going all in and their goal is to make the park experience come home to where you can put on your goggles in your living room and experience the enjoyment and pay the ticket price of, of a Walt Disney World resort, a park, land, world, whatever. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And it's like, hold up. It hasn't happened yet. It's happening. What do I need to do to get in on? How do I buy the stock? How do I buy the tokens? How do I buy some land? What can I do right now to get involved before where, this Bitcoin 2010, before it's 2020 and the ball is rolling? How do I get in? How do I get my hands on some of that? That is my main goal, is to not miss the boat on Metaverse,
Again, yeah. It's, I mean, you think of all those talks in history where, the internet was coming out and so many people, and probably myself, was like, that's, it is what it is. Yeah, there's a place for it, but what do I know? And then all of a sudden it changes everything. I mean, we're at that cusp right now. And it's funny because even you hear that from people that are just beginning, but in these communities on Discord and Twitter and stuff that I'm interacting with and I'm learning from, these are guys that have been involved in the crypto sphere, the metaverse, for years now. And they're saying the same thing. They're saying, hey, we are at the cusp of this right now. Like, this is unfolding day to day right now. We are we are scrambling to build these worlds and infrastructure. And it's so interesting to hear them talk because, initially your brain thinks of a game version or, these metaverse, these virtual worlds. It is real life business worlds. You have real life businesses, major entities, either buying and producing their own metaverses, or they're buying into these worlds of Sandbox, Decentraland. Probably the one that I hear the most lately is Snoop Dogg and the major developments he's doing in Sandbox. What's a guy like that have to do with it? Well, he sees where this world is heading in this business opportunity and the marketing ability that goes with it, which, brings in all these other major retailers and manufacturers.
Well, his job is entertainment. His job is entertainment, and what a perfect industry to get started in the metaverse, because instead of having even if he sold out the biggest arena in the world, the stadium, maybe 100,000 people, but if he holds a concert in the metaverse, there is no limit. You could have 10 million people buy a ticket to a Snoop Dogg concert. And it's like, when you start to think about it outside the box, you start to think of what this is capable of. You could have a front row seat at a Snoop Dogg concert while sitting in your house in England with your goggles on, and it just, he's staying on top of it. He's got a team of people that are, sending him in the right direction, and it's going to be right behind. Mike Tyson was talking about doing experiences. All the video game companies are talking about jumping in. It's like you said, it's happening right now, and it's happening on a day-to-day basis because there's not one company. This is not Microsoft or Google trying to build the metaverse, trying to find the next big thing. This is hundreds, if not thousands, of small teams of the smartest people in the world that are coding as fast as possible, that are making all the world's, and something's going to snap, and they're going to start tying them all together, and it's going to build faster than you've ever seen anything get built before. It's going to get adopted faster than credit cards, faster than the internet, faster than crypto. All of a sudden, you're just going to realize that you're going to be in a video game, and you're going to think, you know what, I'm hungry in the real world, and you're going to be able to walk into a McDonald's, pick what you want. Uber Eats is going to show up at your door. You're going to have food in the real world. You're going to be eating, playing games, watching movies. You're going to be meeting with your friends. You're going to be going to work. Almost everything anything that's possible will be in the metaverse, and that's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of possibilities. There are a lot of things that can happen inside your computer.
Well, there's a whole nother aspect to this that's been unfolding, that is crazy and almost scary. But that, what you're describing a lot of is that decentralization, which is what's made the blockchain so innovative, and why so many different companies, whether they're interested in the metaverse or not, they're moving to that blockchain because it's transparent, it's very, very, if not 100% secure at this point, and it's accessible from almost everybody. And those 3 points is what I began to evaluate with this. And when you listen to these companies, they are these major innovators on the metaverse. And I'm talking about the ones that are developing the metaverse, that are creating the NFTs, which we'll go into more, non-fungible tokens, the blockchains, your actual developing entities. They are very concerned about these major companies buying and controlling the metaverse. They don't want Facebooks and Walmarts. They want it decentralized. They want people like you and I, our viewers, to be able to have not only a say in how things are going, but they're creating it so they're getting a residual income,
but a stake in it. Actually have a piece of the action, which is awesome.
Yeah, and who would have thought, hey, you give your members, you give your people that are investing their own hard-earned time and money in your world, and you give them a kickback, and it actually grows and does like unbelievable things. Like, how is that so shocking to us? But it's contrary to the world that we live in. We'll get into some of the worlds, but the one that I've been putting most of my time and effort into, they've donated over $800,000 to environmental charities since the start of it in July, and majority of that's on the back end. Like, that's incredible that you're talking about those numbers already, that these worlds are kicking back, and the real world problems they're solving. We've talked about this, the play to earn, Axie Infinity, and some of these games, that these third world countries, you have people now that are actually playing these games, making more income via crypto than if they were out doing their grungy day-to-day work. Like, it's actually changing their lives through video games. Like, I can't even begin to understand it, but it is happening.
Yep, exactly. And it's happening right now. And like you said, it's third world, but it's also more modern countries as well, just with lower daily wages. It's going to be harder to get a 35-year-old in America to get over there until the prices come up. But there are 12-year-olds in America right now that are earning a lot of money, and they're earning it digitally, and eventually that's going to blossom, and they're going to be at the forefront. We're behind the game if you're not already got a way to earn some sort of digital currency right now. They're making NFTs, they're playing to earn, they're already stacking, and we're behind the game. So,
and all the resources are already there. I mean, your YouTubes, your Discords, your Twitter, like, all of the information that you need to do any of that stuff is there. It's just how do you slog through it and pick out and figure out where it is. And obviously that's where you and I came together on this, where we realized, hey, we're already putting in all the hours, digging through this, figuring it out on our own. We need to just go ahead and get this out to everybody to speed up that process, to bring everybody to the front of the line along with ourselves. And then, like you said from the very beginning, it isn't about us. It's about bringing in that average person that's doing this and discovering things on their own. Because obviously the more people that are looking at this and sharing and communicating, the more knowledge we're going to have. I know that's what I've done a lot here over the last couple of weeks, is just getting it in front of all my friends and clients and saying, hey, I don't know exactly. I'm not telling you where to put your money at. I have my own ideas. But hey, I'm telling you, you need to get involved in the metaverse, and you need to start learning about this, because even if you don't care about the virtual world, it is impacting real world situations. And if it's not impacting your life yet, it's going to happen this year, 2022, right away.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. That's what we're looking forward to. And I know you and I talk about a lot of Gary V, very impressed with this, very on top of it and in front of it with his NFT collection. But, he talks about several years ago doing a talk to the cab drivers. And I don't remember if it was a union or whatever, but he said, hey, Uber's coming. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? No, you're never going to get rid of a cab. And he's like, it's coming. It's coming. Even if you want nothing to do with it, it's coming for you. Like, it's not whether or not you want to participate. It's whether or not you're going to be around after it comes in, because it was like that. Uber didn't take any time at all before it decimated that whole industry.
Yeah. When you take an industry and you completely simplify it and you make it accessible to everybody and you make it to where it's trustful, people are gonna adopt it. That's what I saw in real estate with the blockchains and NFTs and stuff that's coming. I can sit here and pretend like, hey, I'll always have I'm a damn good realtor. I'll always be needed. Well, yeah, to a certain level, maybe that's so, but the need is decreasing, just like a taxi driver. Just because that's all there has ever been before doesn't mean that's going to change. And we've seen it in Netflix and Blockbuster and Amazon against Borders and all these bookstores. I mean, it's a reality when you simplify something and make it to where people can easily access it and it's affordable. You better get out of the way or get on the bus, because it's happening.
Agreed. It's happening right now.
Let's kind of wrap this up. Before I forget again, we're going to put some links below that'll be the foundational pieces that you really, really need to take a look at. We don't get anything for it. These are people or entities that have put together this information or these videos that show how to have a digital wallet, show how to purchase and transfer crypto, and make sure those things are secure. Your basic pieces. Right now, it can be a little bit difficult, but trust me, it's worth it. See your way through it, and obviously, you can get comment, ask us questions, reach out to us. We'll try to save you some of the trouble we've already had, but we're not experts at this yet by any means.
And we're planning on doing, with both of us still working full time, we're planning on doing an episode a week, and we're going to be researching next week's episode from here till then. But there's no way we could stay in the forefront of every change if we walked you through, if we made video for every here's how to make a Facebook, how to make a wallet, how to make a MetaMask, how to connect it, how to get into this, how to get into that. So we're going to try to be the resource, and we're going to point you in the right direction. There's a ton of good videos out there. We'll link them in our videos. And then the stuff that is actually our thought process, and when we start breaking down the worlds and breaking down how to make the money, it'll be coming from us. And we will also be linking people much smarter than us.
Yeah.
We're not trying to be the experts. We're trying to be the open forum where everybody is coming, the open conversation where if you've got a better idea, if I say something that's incorrect, I need to be corrected, because I'm getting ready to put my money where my mouth is. And if it's going the wrong spot, somebody smarter than me had better pop in and say something, because
and we're going to, and please, if you're willing, come on the show and let's let you tell your story and how you went about it, because obviously you're going about the actual way of finding that world, or your failures or whatever. That's what this is about. So like you said, this is happening so rapidly, there's no way to keep up with it. That being said, let's quickly talk about episode 2, what we're already planning, what we've got in the mix. As you've said the other day, Ben, when we were talking, we're gonna start cracking down on the 10 top worlds, and those may not be some of them will be the biggest, some of them will have the most potential, some of them will have a lot, have a big what's the word I'm looking for? Reputation that's coming down the pipe. So we're going to start with the biggest 10, and Sandbox, I think, is the one that's being, although it's not considered the biggest, I think it's number 2 technically. That's
definitely one of the ones,
where all the energy is, and being able to actually invest in Sandbox, whether you've got 50,000 to invest or 500 to invest. Like you hinted earlier, the tokenomics, the lands, the actual crypto that's going into it. There's opportunities in all of these.
That's going to be one of the main aspects of this channel. Is we're going to break down these worlds. We're going to figure out, like he said, how much money are you looking to invest? How much money are you looking to get back? We're going to let you know, hey, if you've got this much, $50,000, here's some lands, here's something you can do, and here's what we are expecting for a return. If you're just trying to dip your toes in, maybe get involved in the tokens or the actual crypto coins that power it, or, there's going to be several different ways on each one of these lands, whether it's just playing to earn, whether it's buying a game character and getting it, buying in for a couple of crypto and then wandering around the world and trying to find all the magic beans and turn it, there's going to be, there are a ton of ways. And like you were saying, we're going to try to narrow it down to about the top 10. When I was researching for this episode, I found a list of currently playable Metaverse, games, and just where you're able to get in and explore, and ones that are coming soon. And the list was over 100. And I had no idea. I thought maybe there was 20 or 25 and we were going to narrow it down to the top 10. There are over 100 different projects going. And any of these, we might do a top 10 right now. And by this time around Christmas of this year, it's a brand new list. Maybe there's 9 out of the top 10 that have switched. The way everything goes, man, these worlds will move fast. And hopefully we're able to get some that have a huge market cap, that have a huge following, that continue to grow. We're going to get in on those. But there's going to be a lot of switching in the top 10, I'm guessing, over the next months and year.
Yeah, no doubt, especially as they start unrolling and innovation just happens more and more. So I think that's a good place to wrap this first video up. Again, see the links below. Go ahead and follow us. And if you know some other people that are like us, that know there's something going on here with this metaverse and don't know where to get started, don't have the time to spend 2 to 4 hours a day or whatever for the next couple months, just trying to get up to speed to even know what you're looking at, this channel is for you. It's for us. So we look forward to having you join. And as Ben said, make some comments. Let us know how we can make this better for everybody.
I've got a list of all of these, but yes, Sandbox, we'll just start with that one. I think that'd be a good one to get into and explain. Here's the lands that are for sale. This is what you could do. Here's the token. Here's the project. Here's the team. You can kind of get an idea. Everything that we do after that, every other metaverse and world will have a basically same idea, a playable character or an earnable trait, something you can do. So we'll start with that. And that'll be next week's episode. And we're going to get into it. We're going to get down to the specifics and let you know what you can do in that metaverse to get in front of it, to capitalize on this early timing.
Enough said. That's it. That's the game plan. All right, Ben, we'll see you next week.
All right. See you later.